Should be, wow, yeah.
We'll call this meeting to order. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Mixon.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Billingsley. Present. Councilor Curry. Here. Councilor Howell.
Here.
Councilor Humbert. Here. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We do have one request from the audience, so I turn the floor over to Jackie Boyd.
Mayor and council. Last Friday, Pete Donovan, who is on or was on the Airport Advisory Committee, sent me an email and asked me if I had looked at the agenda for the county commission meeting. And item 19 on the agenda was for the dissolution of the Airport Advisory Committee. No one knew anything about it. That includes everybody on the advisory committee. So because I'm of the ilk that if somebody's going to screw you to the wall, you do it eyeball to eyeball. So I went up to Raton this morning, and they did indeed dissolve the committee. The first person voting on that was our commissioner, Brett Weir. So the village of Angel Fire, the village of Eagle Nest, the resort, the valley has absolutely no input or representation for anything that goes on at the Angel Fire Airport. If you know me well, you know that I'm not speechless very often. Today left me speechless. So, I don't think anybody was aware this was coming down the pipe. If they were, it was a clandestine conversation that no one on the committee knew about. So it's just one of the most disappointing things I've seen happen. That committee was in existence for 22 years. I served on that committee from 2008 until 2020. It's just a disappointment. I don't know what can be done after the fact, but I thought you ought to know if you didn't.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any governing body reports?
If the snow doesn't prevent it, we're gonna be laying wreaths out at the cemetery next Saturday at 10 a.m. So, public invited.
Thank you. Sure, it'll be calmed down by then. I hope so. Then we'll move on to the manager's report, and I'll turn the floor over to Morris Madrid.
Mayor and council, I have a short report. I wasn't sure if I'll get another opportunity, but my report tonight is thank you. Mayor, thank you for your confidence and appointment. Members of the governing body, thank you for the opportunity to be a part of your administration and to be a part of the community. I learned a few things while I was here. I hope I taught a few things, but I learned a few things. I learned that Angel Fire is kind of like a garden. It's a beautiful garden. It's got some weeds in it. You gotta be pulled out. But if it's cultivated, you should see the wonderful plants and flowers that grow. I'm looking at some of them in the audience tonight because when there is chaotic situations, it's true, the cream rises to the top. There's people that will see a burning building and run to it to help, and others that run away. Well, I saw a core group and a very broad group of staff employees that are truly vested and truly care about Angel Fire. I don't work on the streets. I don't fix leaks. I don't arrest people and take calls. I don't put out fires. I get sit up here and take the credit, when things go right. But let me tell you, my biggest thank you goes out to them for their commitment and what they do. And anybody's played on a team, been in a band, marched in line, you understand that when you change coaches, if you had a good team before, you still have a good team. Angel Fire will have a good team. And my biggest thank you goes out to you. My report, Mayor.
Okay. We have staff reports. Turning the floor over to Chief Lewis.
Evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, manager, quick dogs. Before you think, do they have it?
Oh, no, I forgot to print it for him. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
One
It's
time
up
you
here,
don't hand it out.
Yeah, I thought he had it. So this is for the month of November. We had 19 citations issued for the month of November. Most of those were speeding violations. Calls for service. Next. We had 34 total calls for service. As you can see, most of those were business alarms, driving tests, property accidents, welfare checks, and then down. And then we had one arrest, which was kind of a serious case, which involved a minor. That's all I can disclose at the time. But it was a pretty serious case that we're still actively involved with. So as for items within the police department, first thing I'd like to let everybody know that our MVD clerk, we know there's been some issues here lately with hours and stuff. Heather Potchek, her husband passed away yesterday morning. So that's what the regular closures have been here lately. Have been with her caring for her husband. He did pass away yesterday morning. So I do have a card at the front of the office here for anyone that would like to sign the card, as well as we're taking collections to help her out with some of the medical expenses that she's been encountering with his treatments and stuff. So anybody's welcome to chip in and to sign that card. In the back, we have our new officer that started on December 4th. This is Officer Travis Jared. Hello. Officer Jared actually resided in Angel Fire once before. His mother owned the old restaurant that was right over here at Rockies. What was the name of it?
Tiny Creek Cafe.
Tiny Creek Cafe. That was his mother's. She's actually moving back here to Black Lake here in the near future. He recently came from Waco, Texas. He worked for a sheriff's department there. He's married, he has 3 children, and he has 9 years law enforcement.
This is my 10th year.
This is his 10th year of law enforcement. So come spring, he'll be attending the certification by waiver class at the Law Enforcement Academy in Santa Fe. Lieutenant Strickland just returned from an internal affairs certification class. It was in Las Vegas. Next Monday we'll be have Union County Sheriff Skaggs here. He'll be teaching our SFST refresher course. That'll complete our biennium training for the year. We still have recruitment ads out. We have 1 open position. We've had 2 applicants. Technically, we've had 2 apply and test. We've had a 3rd one this morning that Deborah sent me. He's out of state that applied from Illinois. I actually did speak with him on the phone. We did finally, thanks to Mayor-elect Lindsay, he was able to put us on the lead for a vehicle. and we were successful in finally getting a new unit ordered. We were having some issues there, but we were successful in finally getting one locked in for us, and it is ordered and committed to us. And then the last thing is we will be attending the SHOT Show, which is in late January. The SHOT Show is the firearms industry show, which also involves law enforcement. We will be attending that for new product updates as well as new patrol rifles, which we're in the market for, to see what the current trends are going and what's out there, and speak with some of these vendors firsthand and get some direction on that as we're looking at replacing those after the new year. I stand for any questions.
Where's the show?
Vegas.
Like this Vegas or
No,
that
Vegas.
Vegas?
Vegas is live. No, it's there every single year. It's been there for 20 years, I think, so,
You just came back from Vegas. I was like,
yeah.
same place, I guess.
No, I didn't.
Well, I mean,
Lieutenant did.
Chief, have you completed your evaluation? Has your evaluation been completed?
No, I've not.
That's 6 months.
5
late.
months yesterday, so.
is there anything else?
Is there gonna be time to complete that before the month's over?
There's time, but actually it should wait for the new mayor-elect because of raises, et cetera. And that should go on the budget meeting, but we'll talk about that instead of talking about it here with important information.
Okay, well, I think it should have been done before now, but I'll leave it there.
I agree. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have a committee report from the advisory board. John Mitchell.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Good evening, audience. There was a Angel Fire Advisory Committee meeting held on Thursday, November 16th that I'll go over. I was previously scheduled for the last meeting that was canceled. Meeting went as usual. Public comment was made by Dr. Boyd asking the county to get the updated minutes onto the website. They hadn't been posted in several months, and we're missing quite a few. But since then, I think they've gotten them all up, if I'm not mistaken. Under new business, got the county updates on some snow removal equipment that I'll go into deeper here with the grant funding. But Manager Gord did talk about the disappointment and rejection of grant monies for the Part 135 service. As you recall, that was the charter commercial service that Angel Fire was bidding for through the Department of Aviation. The application had actually been approved, but when it came to disbursement of the funding, Angel Fire did not make the cut and did not receive any funding for that. Without that funding, which, as I talked about earlier, includes guaranteed revenue incomes for the bidder on that contract. Without it, it's not affordable. It's not affordable by the county or the village. We're talking a couple $100,000 for guaranteed revenue. Went into old business, and that's where the grants came up. So we already talked about the Part 135 operations. Molson Corbin, Mike Provine, who's with Molson Corbin, who, by the way, is a very, very good engineer and has helped the airport for years and does a great job out there. Mike Provine did get up and talk about some ongoing construction. They did submit today to the county commission the billing for the design of the new hangar. As you recall, a couple of years ago, we did receive a grant for hangars, and the direction at that time was to build box hangars for individual aircraft. One of the biggest problems that the Part 135 operation kind of pointed out, and what other commercial flights, charter flights have pointed out coming into Angel Fire, is a lack of hangar space. We have one hangar out there. It's 90 by 100 feet. Over the years, we've lost aircraft here that used to be here. We used to have 6 registered aircraft owned and operated out of Angel Fire. In the last 2 years, that's gone down to 3. So we've lost significant, 50%
folks that were here that own the aircraft, but there's still not enough room in the hangar for some of these charter flights to come in and out. So instead of, after the construction bid came in very high for the 4 box hangars, the advisory committee suggested that the county go after doing a single new larger hangar. That way it's available for either privately owned aircraft or charter aircraft from the area. The idea was couldn't afford another 100 by 90 foot hangar, therefore build what they're looking at right now is a 65 by 60 hangar to house the private aircraft that are owned here locally in, to keep them out of the major hangar, and then be able to use the major hangar for larger aircraft that come in that need the space. The airport makes good money on hangar. I mean, over nightly rentals, it's not us that own aircraft, keep it out there for all year. It's the nightly and weekend rentals that generate a lot of income that come in. So it was just better use of the grant money. That is going to go out for a bid this spring under the new design. So should be announced by the county, and hopefully we'll get somebody that's capable of coming in and working on that. If anybody knows contractors, Albuquerque, Roswell area, places that do build metal hangars, that kind of stuff, please contact them. Because we could sure use some hangars out here. The private hangar lease was updated and resubmitted to the county. It was submitted 2 years ago, approved, but it had a few misses by the county. They still have not done an ordinance to approve the land leasing out here for private hangars. They need to get the ordinance done, and they're also lacking a plat showing the land that's available, but the new hangar lease agreement was submitted by the advisory committee to the county and accepted by the county. And so that's been completely updated. Getting into some of the figures, once again, we're continuing to decline out at the airport. For many years, the airport was barely getting by, and then starting in about 2019, started seeing dramatic increases in traffic, dramatic increases in publicity. 4 private pilots in the local area have written articles for international magazines to include Piper Owners Magazine, Association of Aircraft Owners and Pilots, Cesta World had an article on us, and there was a good article up in Colorado. It's Colorado Aviation on visiting Angel Fire. But since that time, as growth occurred, we had good revenues in 2020, about 145,000. 2021 saw 182,000, and this is growing out of less than 100,000. And by 2021, 2022, 260,000. A lot of that was supported from aircraft coming in for the Calf Canyon fire, being supported out there and leasing it. Over the last year, our traffic has declined over 80%. We've lost 90% of the military traffic that was coming in here. General aviation traffic is down 60%. Our revenues are down 2/3, almost 67%. Timelining a lot of that out, the reputation of this airport has unfortunately declined in the last couple of years due to some decisions without mitigation efforts. Just timelining out the decision to remove the courtesy vehicles that left a lot of people stranded out at the airport. Military pilots won't come in here anymore from the academy because there's no place for them to go have lunch. There's no vehicles available, so when the county did away with those, they had no mitigation efforts, such as House did on trying to get a rent-a-car agency to help with loaner cars, that kind of stuff. So none of that was mitigated. We went several months without fuel trucks. There was a fuel truck being ordered and under contract to get avgas for general aviation. And as you know, that once you have a contract going forward, just like you discussed on the police trucks, as we've done with ambulances, once you get one in the pipeline, if you delay that for any reason, they will sell it to somebody else. So it ended up costing 6 months with no fuel to add gas out there when they wanted to redo the contract for signatures, and an additional $40,000 in costs. The jet fuel truck was down without repair for 4 months. So the charter jets, for those who aren't familiar with flying at Angel Fire, we're the 4th highest airfield in North America.
we're one of the rated more dangerous airfields in North America. I asked my insurance company when they send me my bill. You take a premium for living up here and flying to this airport. But the problem is you can't come in fuel heavy, overweight. Density altitude won't support it, especially in the summertime. So lack of fuel and fuel availability, especially as I said, from military pilots don't fuel their own planes. They can't even sign it off without somebody qualified to do it. So they will come up here when there's not fuel available. So we lost a lot of traffic. We lost a lot of private traffic when that happened. Snow removal equipment last year, even though the resort and the community had record visits from out of town, either owners or visitors coming in. Our ramp space was unusable because all the snow removal equipment was broken and wasn't provided for. Again, can't get in here, can't land. Many times I had to divert it to Towser myself due to weather in the ramp. There is snow removal equipment being looked at for grants, but we will not receive that until 2027. So without getting some more available equipment out there, it's going to be tough to do. Dr. Boyd already talked about, anyway, so the traffic's down, reputation's a little bit down. We need to build that back up. I mean, that's an economic development gold mine sitting out there. It's a great airfield. It's got a great runway. Unfortunately, the new plow is tearing it up a little bit, but there is grant money in the works to get the apron redone, get the lighting redone. Molson Corbin's moving forward in all that effort. Unfortunately, just won't have a advisory committee helping with due to resolution 2023-43 that was passed today that dissolved the advisory committee itself. All we can right now, the last thing I want to talk about is the money. Thank you for the donation of lodger's tax, $30,000 2.5 years ago. This council has shown support, and the mayor has shown support for the airport throughout the last few years. There is still $17,792.37 remaining out of that $30,000 that hasn't been expended in 2.5 years. There are processes and procedures for getting equipment and getting furniture and stuff to help the airport are too cumbersome, and frankly, the prioritization is not there. So without the advisory committee and somebody from Angel Fire overseeing that, I'm afraid we have nobody watching that money or how it's going to be utilized. I stand for questions.
Not as a question, but I think council needs to know, if you don't, that the resort had worked with the state and filed an application to bring in a scheduled airline, and application looked great. And when they got ready to hand out the money, they gave a whole bunch of it to Taos, who had not finished their application and had to scramble to finish it. So doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, Counselor, that didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to any of us. And the only negative factor they put in on our airport was, one, we do have a lack of permanent aircraft here, and our figures had declined over the last 2 years. So.
Question, sir. Did they give any reasons as to why they dissolved the committee?
No, other than some
just unilateral decision?
innuendos about and comments that some committee members had attacked other committee members. I can't remember that. Some committee members had called other committee members, was it Nazis? Nazis. Yeah, that was a new one to me. That the committee has had a negative impact on the employees out at the airport. There's only one. And the only negative impact I know of was when Commissioner Weir called the wrong phone number and left a message to the current employee telling him he was inadequate and needed to be replaced. He left it on the wrong phone number. Now, the resolution simply states, the Board of County Commissioners deems it to be in the best interest of the county and the constituents to dissolve the advisory committee. That was adamantly fought against by Mary Lou Kern, who doesn't represent this this district, which is former county manager, and had a lot of input and a lot of work that she did during her tenure at the airport. And it wasn't always congenial. I mean, there was a lot of debates with Mary Lou on getting the county to do stuff, but it was always open debate, and it was always fairly productive. So,
Thank you.
just unfortunate.
Larry.
Thank you, sir. So we'll go into the first discussion, and it's discussion approval of ordinance amending Title 9, Chapter 8, Section 7 of the Village Code. This is the first reading, and it is a public hearing, and I open it up for public hearing and turn the floor over to Morris Madrid.
Mayor and council, this is a fairly routine item. It does have the recommendation of planning and zoning, and the only change that it makes is to allow larger signs, real estate signs. They're now limited to be very small. The size would increase from a small sign about this big to a 4x8 sign. And it would be able to utilize both sides to give more visibility to real estate advertising. That is the only change that's requested. It did go to planning and zoning and comes as a recommendation. We ask for your approval tonight.
And this is for commercial property, is that correct?
It's specifically for commercial property real estate signs, yes.
Right, is there any comment from the public or questions? No? And I'll close this public hearing and ask for a motion, please, for the discussion and approval of ordinance amending Title 9, Chapter 8, Section 7 of the Village Code. Is there a motion?
Make a motion for discussion and approval of ordinance amending Title 9, Chapter 8, Section 7 of the Village Code.
Second?
Second.
Then it's open for discussion with council. Does anyone have anything else to?
Mayor Pro Tem Billingsley,
Aye.
Councilor Curry.
Aye.
Councilor Howell,
Aye.
Councilor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion carries.
It goes to a second hearing.
Yes.
Oh, I don't have to do that again. Next is a discussion approval of resolution 2023-60, a resolution granting a revised site plan for a CUP 01-21 to R&S Hill LLC for a storage use located at 3627 Mountain View Blvd in Agua Fria Estates, Lot 28. Is there a motion, please?
I make a motion for discussion and approval of resolution 2023-60, a resolution granting a revised site plan for a CUP 01-21 to R&S Hill LLC for a storage use located at 3627 Mountain View Boulevard in Agua Fria Estates, Lot 28.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay, thank you. Turn the floor back over to Morris.
Mayor and council, this is another fairly routine item. You do have a conditional use permit in place. It was originally approved with a 45-foot wide building. The plans were submitted with a 48-foot wide building. The request is to allow up to a 50-foot wide building. That is the only change. All of the requirements are met and are in place, and that's for your approval.
Is there any questions? No? Thank you, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Billingsley,
Aye.
Councilor Curry,
Aye.
Councilor Howell,
Aye.
Councilor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have discussion approval to award GM Emulsions LLC the construction contract for Valley Road, CS Ranch Road intersection roadway improvements project. Is there a motion?
Make a motion for discussion and approval to award GM Emulsions LLC the construction contract for Valley Road / CS Ranch Road intersection roadway improvements project.
A second?
Second.
We'll turn the floor over to Julie.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, Manager Madrid, Clerk Boggs, and Council-elect, Mayor-elect. Before you have the contract and grant agreement for this project. This project is under the statewide pricing agreement, and I'll stand for any questions.
This is to correct the drainage problem there?
Yes, sir. Because right now the village is, has a liability for water draining off of CS Ranch Road, going across Valley Road and down into that homeowner's property.
Okay, just add one other thing. Why are we doing this in December? 2 reasons.
He's gonna answer that question.
First one is, we want to show the funding entity that we're doing something. That's important, especially before the legislative session. Second thing is it locks in the price. So,
Very
those are 2 positive things.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for the clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any more?
No,
No. I think that answered your question. Thank you, Julie.
Mayor Pro Tem Billingsley. Aye. Councilor Curry.
Aye.
Councilor Houghton.
Aye.
Councilor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
Call this meeting adjourned.